Hey everyone, welcome back to Mindful Minute. It's Gabby. Today I wanted to talk to you all about how to create a morning routine for yourself. Before we jump into this podcast episode though, be sure to subscribe to this so that you don't miss out on future episodes. And if you want to see some more content that I'm putting out, head on over to my YouTube channel at Gabriella Mendonza and give me a subscribe over there too if you want more content. So, a morning routine. I know a lot of us are probably like, yeah, but I'm home now. Why do I need a routine? Why do I need to, focus on kind of building up this thing for myself? Well, I was literally in the same spot. But I found that especially because of this pandemic, I had to push myself to not be, to not procrastinate when I get up in the morning. So I'll tell you this much. Lately, I've been getting up a lot earlier, and I know I'm not really like a big early morning person, but I find that usually when I'm really feeling motivated and I'm feeling productive and, inspired, I tend to get my work done pretty early in the morning. This way, at least mid-morning, I have a little bit more time to kind of do different things, like maybe record a podcast episode or film a YouTube video or, do yoga or things like that. But I've come to the realization also that this pandemic has caused so many people to maybe forget about the fact that, it's still important for you mentally to find something that works for you. So I've talked about this in, I think, maybe the second or third episode. And if you've missed out on those, make sure to check those out. But I think that, a lot of the time we wake up in the morning and so many of us are just like, oh, it's morning. Like, I don't want to get up. Like, I feel like staying in bed all day and just like doing my work from class. That's been me the past, for this whole week, honestly, because it's cold out here and I just feel like I haven't been as motivated as I usually am when I get up in the morning. So this is a thing that you have to kind of trick your brain into understanding, is that one, when you get up in the morning, at least early in the morning, I should say, developing things that are going to just help you to feel more focused. So tip number one, and I highly recommend that you take notes on these. Tip number one is to make your bed right away. Now, I'm the type of person who usually I'm just like, why do I need to make up my bed? Like, I'm literally going to crawl right back into it when I'm done with class and when I'm ready to take a nap. And I understand that's such an easy thing to end up kind of getting into because, it's just like, who has time to do that? I'm just tired and I don't care to do that right now. And I'm telling you, I've been forcing myself more than ever to make sure that I'm actually sticking to something that is going to help me to get that motivation, to feel more inspired and, to be productive, at least in the morning when I get up. So making my bed right away, yes, it's like, I don't care right now, but also at the same time, I like coming into a room that just feels cozy and that's already clean and that I can just be in my own little oasis. So with that being said, when you get up in the morning, just say to yourself, you know what? I need to make up my bed. I need to have this be a tidy room. I don't want to come back in here after I'm done working all day on Zoom to have a messy room that I have to end up cleaning again. So, make your bed, guys. Well, the next thing on the list that I would say is to after you kind of, you go in the bathroom and you wash your face and do all the things you need to get done, take care of your business, I suggest that you do some meditation. Now, I spoke about this in the benefits of meditation, which was, I think, about 2 episodes ago. Highly recommend you check that out if you want to get into meditation, or if you've been just thinking about it. Meditate. Like I said, this week especially, my whole morning routine has been completely off. And so has my sleep schedule. So I'm definitely trying to fix that. I go on spring break next week, so at least I'll have some time to, rest and feel a little bit better and motivated to go back and actually get done what I have to get done. So, meditation. Whether you use Headspace or you use Calm or you go on YouTube and you just type in guided meditations. One that I really, really like on Headspace is called Early Morning Meditation. It just makes my day feel a lot less stressed. And I know that's such a cliche thing to say when it comes down to meditation, but I find that for me, when I sit down in my room, like I said, I like having my room be my own little place where I can come and just have my own little space and my own oasis. So I have a little section in my room that I sit in my beanbag chair over here, and I put on, whether it be my candle or my essential oil diffuser, and I just, do my meditation. And I feel like after that, especially when my mind is not racing with thoughts, I feel like I'm ready to, get started and start being productive and doing what I have to do. So meditation is definitely a big one on the list, at least for me. So if you feel like, there's something that is, if you feel like you need something to help you get to feel more awake and just to kind of get your mind ready for the day, then I think meditation, in whatever way you choose to do it, whether, like I said, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Headspace or one of those apps, it's definitely a great tool, and I think that it works really well when you utilize it more and more. So the next thing is something that I've been trying to definitely figure out more for myself, because again, sticking to a routine, especially now in this time with the pandemic, we tend to just kind of slack off a bit and just forget about it, and we just tell ourselves I don't need to, develop this routine thing. I don't need to have something that's specifically meant for me to help my mental health during this time. No, that is not true. I think that a lot, again, for me especially, I'll say, I usually get up, especially when I'm not having a very week or whatever you want to call it, like this one has kind of been, but I like to actually, and this is the next thing, dress like if I'm actually going into school, or in this terms, if you're working from home, dress like if you're actually going to work. I have an older brother who, even before the pandemic, he was working remote, and when I tell you guys, in the morning, whenever I would be going to school, he would be getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning, getting ready, putting on a blazer, and actually looking professional, excuse me, before he went on camera to have his meetings. And trust me, he had meetings all day. And so I think I learned from him, just from witnessing what he would do and just noticing the things he would do. I found myself starting to incorporate those things into my everyday routine. So I think that that's a good thing to definitely do for yourself. So definitely I recommend dress comfortably, but also make sure that it's not sweatpants and leggings and just hoodies every day. That's my style personally, just because it helps me to feel comfortable. And my brother can tell you that I've always been a big fan of wearing hoodies and sweats, because it's just so simple. Like, you don't have to think about your look. You don't have to think about like figuring out what you're gonna wear. But now I've been trying to wear those clothes that I haven't worn in a long time and really organize my closet to find the things that I need to find to actually, wear what I have and not just throw on whatever is easy for me. So figure out what that is for yourself and start adding that to your routine. The next thing I will say is write down your goals. So I started doing this, and like I said, for like probably the fourth time this time around, my routine has changed so much from the beginning of the pandemic versus where we are now. And I think that I've been able to really do I've been doing a lot of self-reflection, and that has really helped me to figure out what my goals are, whether it's long-term, whether it's short-term, but to actually sit back and say, okay, I'm doing all this reflection, like, let me reevaluate the things that I actually genuinely care for, the things that I actually genuinely need to, focus on, because I think that those things are really important. So write down your goals, whether it be a short-term goal, like a weekly goal. So you say, Monday, I'm going to start out here. This is the plan for the week. Monday, I have these meetings. Tuesday, I have a day off. Wednesday, I got these things to take care of. And really figuring out what your own schedule is and, organizing that around your schedule to make it fit in with your everyday, routine. The next thing on the list is, for all of us, I think, is just to actually take time for yourself before your day starts. This, for me especially, is really, really important, because when I was going into school, I didn't really have the time to just like sit down and meditate and read affirmations. And sure, I could have read it on the way to school, but obviously, like, in that time, I was just like listening to music and just like whatever, and I didn't really pay much attention to it. And I think like this is the biggest thing too, because so often we say like, I want to develop a routine, and then we automatically are just like, whatever, like it's not important. And now I think that because I have time before class starts, and the way that I've kind of set up my schedule is for me to be able to actually sit down and have me time, whether it's like an hour, whether it's 20 to 30 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. I think that taking that time is really beneficial, because when you have a day that's literally filled with Zoom meetings after Zoom meeting, and you have tons of assignments to do, or you have work that you need to catch up on, you feel like at the end of the day, you're just like, all right, I just want to crawl into bed and sleep. And then you end up repeating the same cycle the next day. So I think that building, figuring out that for yourself, figuring out your me time, whatever it is, before you go into work, whether, wherever you live, if you're in a place that has really nice weather, taking a walk maybe in the morning, or sitting down and doing your meditations, or like me, reading affirmations and just kind of reflecting, I think are really beneficial. So for me, I like to read my books, especially because I don't know, I feel like reading, I don't know what it is, but when you have that time where you're just reading a good book and you're just like really, really, really like enjoying it, there's this, I saw this thing on Twitter, and it was like, there's this silence that kind of, happens, where it's not like this, I don't like this quiet thing. It's just like a comfy, cozy vibe that you feel. And so those are just some of the things that I like to do. The next thing is, for me, I would say, is to practice gratitude and practice positive self-talk. Okay, so story time, because as I mentioned in the first episode, which was my self-care journey, I explained that I usually wouldn't really care to actually like sit down and pay attention to myself and show myself the same amount of love that I was showing to everybody else. And so I got this list actually from Rob Dial. He's another podcaster. Highly suggest that you check out his podcast. He does some great stuff, but he did a whole thing on, the most successful habits or something about habits for successful people. And so some of these that I'm reading off the list are some that I kind of got from what he said, because I definitely took note and I started to figure out like, whoa, like these things are actually really, really good. So practicing gratitude. I think that we live in a time where so many people, because of society and just because of our own things, like our own personal battles, we tend to forget to say how grateful we are for the things that we have. Or we tend to forget to say how grateful we are for the people that are in our lives, or, the opportunities we've been given, whatever it is. I know for me, for a long time, I would just kind of be like, again, I wouldn't pay attention to those things. And now, especially being home, having that time for myself in the morning before I go to class to just think and reflect, I think has definitely allowed me to see like gratitude is so important. It's so important to say you're grateful for things that you have, because honestly, there's people in the world who don't have the things that you have. They don't have the opportunities that you've been given. They don't have the support that you may have. They don't have people in their corner that are there for them. And so I think that practicing gratitude is so, so, so good. The next thing that it says is practice positive self-talk. Listen, you're looking at the person who doubts themselves for every single thing that they do. And it's such a horrible thing to do, but I think for a long time I got so accustomed to just saying like, oh, you're a failure, or blaming my disability for why I don't have friends, for blaming myself for, why people don't like me, and blaming my disability for those things. And just like, although I've accepted my disability and I am grateful that I've been able to meet people in the community who are going through similar things and develop wonderful friendships, there's still times where I'm like, damn, like I'm actually, like this is how I feel. And so more and more as I did meditation, as I kind of reflected, I realized like what you say is what ends up, kind of not happening, but those things end up reflecting in your work and what you do. So the more negative talk I would say to myself, I realized like I would feel more upset with people and just like with myself, and just annoyed by the smallest things ever. And now I've really just been in like this chill out vibe, and I've just been feeling like I've been starting to love myself a lot more. I've been starting to understand how important it is to love yourself and why we need to do that. And I'll probably do that in another episode. In the next episode, I'll talk about like why self-love is so important. But practicing positive self-talk, your mind literally, if you say something, I've learned this, if your mind says something negative, if you're like, oh, I'm so ugly, or I'm never gonna be able to date that guy or girl, or whatever it is that you feel is going on with you personally, those are the things, like those words that you say, your mind ends up repeating those things constantly throughout the day. And you start to see how those negative words actually do reflect in what you do and the people that, and just how you interact with people. So I never let it get to the point where it was like too bad, but I did start to tell myself like, this isn't me. I'm not this type of person. I've never been the type of person that liked negativity. I don't like those negative vibes. We ain't with it. So how do I change this for myself? And so I started to do that by just like stepping away from, honestly, the things that I needed to step away from, which I would say would be just like, just things that I found were toxic friendships is such a big one for me. For the longest time, I had a friend who wasn't really a great friend. And so I would feel like I would just kind of say whatever to anything, not like in a bad way, but just be like, oh, like we want to hang out, okay, sure, no problem. Oh, you want me to come like to this party, okay, what no problem. And I never saw that was being, kind of, it wasn't a 50-50 thing. And so toxic friendships, figuring out like who the people are that's in your corner, that you genuinely are like, okay, these people make me feel happy, these people bring me positive vibes, these people are the people supporting me, and they actually care about me as a person, they care about the things that I have to talk about, and they want to help me to achieve my goals and to chase after my dreams. And I started to see like, like you don't need those toxic friendships. That's not, if you are trying to work on yourself and you're trying to figure out what is going to help you to really, in this case, like it says, practice positive self-talk. I think that also has to do with who you surround yourself with, because the more negative people that you surround yourself with, the more that you are going to start, saying those things to yourself. And trust me, you don't need that. So I think these are so good. The next one on the list, which I really love, so thank you, Rob Dahl, for mentioning these, because I think that these are really, really good tips, is proper nutrition and sleep. Okay. I am someone who naps 50 times a day. No, I'm just kidding. But I really love napping, because what I'll say is, from my perspective, as a blind person, as a blind individual, everything that I do takes so much more time. In the morning, whenever I know I have a place to be, organization takes more time, and just like figuring out things takes a little bit more time than it should for those who are blind and low vision, because we obviously have to be more aware of what is happening around us. And so even with school, like now we're doing virtual stuff, but I found that with school, I need my time to sleep. And my family, I think, has now come to the realization that like, when I take a nap, like, please do not bother me, because they know that whatever I do, I have to put my energy into it. And as they say, and what I like to tell my friends and tell myself is like, I can't help the people around me if I haven't been able to help myself, if I haven't been able to care for myself. So sleep is so important. Whether you take like a 15 to 20 or 30-minute nap, do what you need to do to get that energy back up again. Nutrition is so good. My mom loves she's very big on like being healthy. My brothers are too. So I've always been very big on like eating things that are good for me, and even more now, just reevaluating my diet. Even as I'm doing these reflection things, reevaluating my diet, reevaluating how things make me feel after I eat. And I know the things that I like. I know the types of fruits and vegetables I like. I know, the foods that I like that I think are healthy and that are actually good for me. So whenever we go grocery shopping, I tend to get the things that I know I like, that I actually will enjoy. And so figuring out your diet, your dietary intake, and just what works for you, figuring out your nutrition. And even if you need to, I've been trying to meet with a nutrition, because I definitely feel like there are things that I still am working on, and that includes like exercise, but I've definitely been trying to get back into my yoga, because that always helped me to get my energy and just feel a lot more positive about things. So I think these are really great tips. Let me know if there's some that you feel has really worked for you. Don't forget, there's an Instagram for this podcast at mindfulminute_. That is mindful_minute_. Give me a follow, and let me know if there's something that you would like for me to talk about next. And let me know if your routine, maybe if you try it out for a week, see if it's something that you feel comfortable with, and you can always go back and change it and, add to it, or just, again, reflect and figure out what is working, what isn't working. Let me know, and I'll see you guys next time on Mindful Minute.